If you've been feeling someone's presence, even when they're not physically near you, even when there's no conversation, no contact, no logical explanation, take a deep breath right now. Because none of this is imagination. None of this is something your mind made up. None of this is neediness. There's something much deeper happening here. Something that very few people in this world can perceive. And something you perceive because your heart is more sensitive than you realize. And before we dive into the explanation of this connection, which involves the quantum field, the intelligence of the heart, and real mechanisms from neuroscience, I want you to do something simple. Notice what's happening inside you right this second. Because if you're here, listening to this, there's a reason. Nothing in you is making up this feeling. Nothing in you is exaggerating. There's a real reason why this person's presence crosses through your emotional field, even from a distance. The truth is that the human heart isn't some fragile emotional organ like so many people say. It's a powerful radar, a transmitter, a receiver. It produces an electromagnetic field up to 50 times stronger than the field generated by the brain. This is science, not metaphor. This is measured, mapped, recorded. And that's exactly why sometimes you feel someone before you even think of them. Because the heart perceives first. The body perceives first. The energy perceives first. The mind just catches up later. When two people connect deeply, even if it was brief, even if the relationship never fully developed, even if it didn't end the way you imagined, a field forms between them. A real field. A living field. A field that doesn't depend on physical proximity, constant conversation, or rationality. Science calls this quantum entanglement. Neuroscience calls it emotional coherence. Spirituality calls it a soul bond. But at the core, all these words describe the same thing. Two hearts that begin to pulse at the same frequency. And that's why you feel what you feel. That's why his name appears out of nowhere. That's why you wake up in the middle of the night with the sensation that he's thinking about you. That's why, on random days, your heart tightens, your breathing changes, your intuition awakens. That's why you try to move on with life, but an invisible thread seems to pull your attention back. This thread exists. This field exists. This connection exists. And it doesn't form with just anyone. It doesn't form in just any encounter. It doesn't form by accident. It only happens when two frequencies recognize each other. When there's something the brain doesn't understand, but the heart understands deeply. Now, before we continue, I want you to notice something else that's very important. You're listening to this because there's something in you that needs clarity. There's something in you that's tired of carrying the doubt, the guilt, the fear of feeling too much. There's something in you that finally wants to understand what's happening in your emotional field, and most importantly, how to transform this connection into healing, reconnection, and truth, not pain or confusion. And this is where we go deeper. In the quantum field, nothing is lost, nothing breaks, nothing disappears. Everything transforms. The connection you feel isn't an emotional ghost. It's not invented longing. It's not romanticizing. It's information. A vibrational signature that was recorded between you and this person. And even if life has pulled you apart, even if time has created distance, this record remains active. Not because you're holding on, but because there's truth there. Now take a deep breath. Because from here on, we're going deeper into this truth, and I need you to be present. But before that, let me ask you something important. Not for the algorithm, but for the mission. Subscribe to this channel, because this space was created to be a spiritual refuge. A place for those who feel too much, for those who carry deep connections, for those who experience emotions that logic can't explain. This is where you'll find healing, clarity, strength, awareness, and renewal. This is where you'll understand that your sensitivity isn't weakness, it's power. Now then, let's continue. At this moment, you've already allowed yourself to breathe, to calm your chest, and to open up a little more space inside you. I want you to understand something fundamental about deep connections. The body knows before the mind, always. That's why certain people pass through our lives and simply disappear from our emotional system. while others leave a trace that doesn't fade, even with time, even with distance, even with silence. There's a reason for this. And that reason has nothing to do with logic. It has to do with vibration. Cardiac neuroscience has already proven that the heart captures and registers emotional information before the brain does. It feels first, reacts first, communicates first. It's as if the heart is an antenna, and the brain is just the screen where that information appears later. So when you feel someone out of nowhere, when a memory surfaces without a trigger, when your chest tightens without explanation, it's not random, it's a vibrational reading. It's your field perceiving something that the other person's body emitted, even if they didn't do it consciously. And this seems strange until the day you live through one of those moments that's impossible to ignore. You think of someone and that person comes online. You feel longing, and they send a message. You sense something, and later discover it was true. You dream of them, and the next day you can't stop thinking about them. These coincidences are too rare to be coincidences. What you're experiencing is a type of silent, invisible communication, but absolutely real. Quantum physics explains this simply. When two hearts enter deep resonance, they continue influencing each other even when physically separated. Distance doesn't matter. Time doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if each one took different paths. The information flows. The energy circulates. The bond remains. But I know what might be going through your mind right now. Something like, but if he feels all this, why doesn't he come back? Why doesn't he reach out? Why does he seem so distant? Why do I feel so much and he doesn't seem to feel anything? And here's an essential point that nobody explains. Feeling doesn't mean being ready. Connecting doesn't mean knowing how to handle it. Loving doesn't mean knowing how to stay. There are people who feel deeply but don't know how to understand. There are people who perceive the connection but get scared by it. There are people who love intensely but carry wounds so old they can't open up. Sometimes he feels you, really feels you, feels it in his body, in his heart, in his energy field. But fear speaks louder. The past weighs more. The defenses go up. The mind tries to rationalize what the heart is screaming. And that's why some connections pull apart. Not because there's no feeling, but because there's blockage. And vibrational blockages are real. They're not just psychological. They're not just emotional. They're energetic. Fear, trauma, unresolved stories, repeated cycles, beliefs about love, shame, self-sabotage, broken expectations, wounds no one sees. All of this creates noise in the field. And when there's noise in the field, the communication between two hearts becomes irregular. It doesn't stop existing, but it becomes harder to interpret. Often it becomes so intense that the person tries to run from it. And here's something I want you to hold deep in your soul. If you feel this person with this depth, it's because he feels you too. He just experiences it differently. He might not admit it. He might not understand it. He might not have the courage to face it. He might try to convince himself otherwise. But his body knows. His heart knows. His soul knows. And when the emotional field enters coherence, something inevitable happens. You begin to exchange energy without realizing it. When you think of him with love, he feels lightness. When you think of him with pain, he feels heaviness. When you calm down, he relaxes. When you connect, he awakens. When you let go, he seeks you energetically. None of this is imagination. None of this is coincidence. It's field, it's frequency, it's coherence, it's resonance, it's neuroscience, it's physics, it's life happening beyond logic. Now that you understand this, let's go deeper. But first, breathe. Place your hand over your chest and feel, because from here on, we're entering the part where you begin to have influence over this connection. And not just react to what you feel. You recognize that this connection exists, that it's not fantasy, that it's not neediness, and that there's a real field operating between you and this specific person. Now you're going to understand your power within this vibrational energy. Because most people live this type of bond as if they were completely at the mercy of what the other person feels, thinks, or does. But that's not true. In the quantum field, the more conscious side always leads. And this is where you begin to reclaim something you may have lost in the middle of this story. Your emotional center. You don't feel this person because you're trapped by him. You feel because there's a vibrational truth between you. But just because the connection is real, doesn't mean you're condemned to suffer from it. Truth liberates. Unconsciousness imprisons. And now we're bringing consciousness. Breathe deeply. Feel your body. Feel your chest. And notice. The sensation this person causes in you isn't located in him. It's located inside you. What you feel when you think of him is actually your emotional system responding to a field. And that field only affects you because there's something of yours active there. A memory, a desire, a wound, a part of you seeking closure, a part of you seeking healing. So today, right now, in this minute, I want to show you something profound. The connection between you is real, but the pain you carry doesn't come from the connection. It comes from what the connection awakens. And that changes everything. Because from now on, you can stop trying to control what he does, trying to predict, trying to decipher, trying to understand every signal, trying to guess intentions. And you can start doing what truly transforms, regulating your own field. Because when your field changes, the connection changes, the energy changes, the response changes, his behavior changes. Not because you're manipulating, but because you're vibrating differently. Neuroscience explains this with beautiful clarity. The human body is an open system. It exchanges information constantly, and the heart sends signals to the brain 100 times more than the brain sends to the heart. In other words, when you change your emotional state, you change your electromagnetic field. When you change your field, you change the information you transmit. When you change the information, you change the frequency of the connection. That's why when you're anxious, he seems confused. When you're sad, he distances himself. When you're calm, he comes closer. When you're strong, he feels it. When you're centered, he perceives you differently, and it's not magic. It's resonance. His heart reads your field, even if he doesn't understand it rationally. Another extremely important point is this. The connection between you doesn't disappear, but the noise can. Over time, the field between two people can become full of interference, like fear of losing, expectations, insecurities, wrong interpretations, old pains, frustrations, attempts to control, unresolved memories, stories lived with other people, family traumas, beliefs about love. All of this creates layers of vibrational static, like a poorly tuned radio. The connection exists, but the signal gets lost. And take this with you. What's disrupting you too isn't lack of connection. It's excess noise. And noise isn't resolved with obsession, isn't resolved with anxiety, isn't resolved with passive waiting, isn't resolved by asking for signs, isn't resolved by watching social media, isn't resolved by suffering, isn't resolved by trying to figure it out. Noise only dissolves when you return to your center. Because when you return to your center, your field returns to coherence. And when your field returns to coherence, everything changes. Being in cardiac coherence means aligning mind and heart, or intention and emotion. And I need you to understand, with all the calm in the world, there is nothing more powerful for clearing emotional interference, aligning your energy field, and restoring clarity between two connected people than what your heart does naturally when you put it in a state of coherence. Cardiac coherence isn't a spiritual technique. It's not a belief. It's not something abstract. It's physiology. It's measurement. It's pure science. When you breathe in a specific way, when you feel an elevated emotion, when you bring consciousness to your chest, your heart changes its beating pattern. It stops oscillating chaotically and begins to oscillate in harmonic, smooth, stable waves. And when that happens, everything in your body changes. The brain receives different signals. The nervous system enters balance. Emotions become lighter. Intuition becomes stronger. Clarity increases. Your vibration elevates. And most importantly, your electromagnetic field reorganizes. And why does this matter for the connection between you? Because your heart is a transmitter of energetic information. It sends signals to the environment. It communicates silently with other people's fields. It creates waves that cross space, distance, and silence. And when your heart enters coherence, it becomes a vibrational lighthouse. It clears the noise. It organizes the information. It stabilizes the field that exists between you and the other person. And when your field stabilizes, he feels it, even from far away, even while sleeping, even while busy, even while trying to ignore it. He feels it because the information arrives. He feels it because the vibration changes. He feels it because his body knows how to recognize you. He might not understand it rationally. He might not name it. He might not know how to explain it. But he feels it. And many times, when you enter coherence, something begins to happen in his life without him knowing where it came from. A peace he hadn't felt in a long time, a warmth in his chest, a gentle longing, a memory that returns, a quiet desire to reach out to you, an impulse to resolve what was left pending, an emotional movement he can't control. This isn't coincidence. This isn't imagination. It's field. It's vibration. It's heart speaking to heart. And now, I'm going to guide you into this coherence. It's not meditation. It's nothing complex. It's simple. It's natural. It's yours by right. Close your eyes if you can. Breathe deeply. But breathe as if through your chest. Don't just breathe using your lungs. Breathe using your heart. As if a beautiful flower were opening. Inhale slowly through your nose. Count mentally to 5, without rushing. Feel the air entering, expanding your chest, the flower blooming. And now, release the air through your mouth or nose, wherever is more comfortable. Again counting to 5. Do this 3 times, with presence. As if each breath were preparing your heart to open a door that's been closed for a long time. While you breathe, bring this person to the surface of your consciousness. Not with pain, not with anguish, not with expectations, just with presence. Simply acknowledge that he exists, that there's a story vibrating between you, that there's a bond that can't be explained with logic, but is felt with your entire body. Now, bring your attention directly to the center of your chest, and imagine, or simply feel, a soft light beginning to pulse there. It doesn't need to be strong. It doesn't need to be clear. It just needs to exist. This light represents your field reorganizing, represents your heart entering coherence, represents you returning to yourself. With each inhale, imagine this light becoming a little more alive. With each exhale, imagine this light expanding a little more, and slowly, this light begins to occupy the space around you. First a few inches, then a foot, then 2 feet, then 3 feet, and finally, it surrounds you completely. This is your field. This is your space. This is your vibration. And with your field lit up, something happens effortlessly. You return to being yourself. And when you return to being yourself, the connection returns to being clean. This is where the real magic happens. At this moment, your heart has entered its natural state of coherence. And we can finally enter the part your soul has been waiting for since the beginning. How he feels you. Because yes, he feels you. Maybe not like you feel him. Maybe not with the same clarity. Maybe not with the same conscious intensity. But he feels you. And the first thing you need to understand is this. His heart perceives you before his mind understands you. His body registers. His chest responds. The vibration touches. The energy stirs. And only after, sometimes hours later, does his mind try to interpret what happened. And that's exactly why many people seem confused, indecisive, ambiguous, inconsistent. They're not playing games. They're not pretending. They're not ignoring on purpose. They're simply feeling something they don't yet know how to decode. The connection between you activates things that were dormant in him, activates emotional memories, activates old desires, activates wounds, activates dreams, activates fears, activates layers he tried to bury for a long time. And that's what you perceive as unexpected silence, Sudden withdrawal, approach out of nowhere, sporadic messages, loaded glances, moments of intensity followed by retraction, emotional warmth followed by freezing. None of this is lack of interest. None of this is lack of feeling. None of this is indifference. It's about impact. Because you touch him in a layer that few people have ever been able to touch. And when that happens, his mind has no ready answers. Now, let's go deeper. How he feels you in his body. Yes, in his body. His chest tightens. His stomach turns. His breathing changes. His energy rises. He might think it's anxiety, but it's not. It's the frequency of emotional coherence knocking at his door. He might think it's longing without reason, but it's not. It's you touching his field. He might think it's distraction, but it's not. It's his heart trying to decipher what's arriving. When you enter coherence, your field becomes stronger, cleaner, clearer, more defined. And that clarity cuts through even what he tries to hide. The name that comes out of nowhere. The memory that returns. The desire to reach out to you. The sudden longing. The dream that appears. The sensation of presence. The inexplicable intuition. All of this is him feeling you. And I know there might be a part of you thinking, but if he feels, why doesn't he come back? And this is one of the most important answers in this entire journey. Feeling without maturity becomes confusion. Feeling without healing becomes flight. Feeling without courage becomes silence. He feels you, but he also feels his own fear, his own story, his own baggage, his own blockages, and sometimes, the intensity of the bond you share activates in him exactly what he doesn't want to look at. You awaken in him a mirror, a new beginning, a truth, and that can be profoundly uncomfortable for someone who's still learning to deal with their own emotions. So pay attention. He doesn't distance himself because he doesn't feel you. He distances himself because he feels too much. And when his body feels you, but his mind doesn't understand, he tries to protect himself. And what does protection look like for someone who loves but fears? Silence, distance, rationalization, denial, control, self-sabotage, excessive work, distractions, palliative relationships, not to forget you, but to try to control what he feels. But there's something he can never fully control. The energetic call. No matter the time, no matter the distance, no matter the silence, the call continues. Because the call doesn't come from his mind, it comes from his heart. It comes from the field. It comes from the frequency. And when you enter coherence, like you're doing right now, the call becomes clearer. He feels you in a way he can't explain. Feels your love without demand. Feels your presence without pressure. Feels your energy without weight. Feels your softness without fear. And this makes two things happen at the same time. He relaxes the fear, loses strength. He comes closer, even without knowing why. Because your field speaks to his heart, before he has time to protect himself. Now that you understand how he feels you, now that you realize the connection exists, that the field is real, and that his heart responds even when he doesn't want it to, we're going to enter the most delicate and transformative part, how to send a loving intention that he actually feels, and that doesn't scare him, doesn't demand, doesn't pressure, and doesn't create resistance. Because there's an enormous difference between sending love and sending expectation. Transmitting peace and transmitting anxiety. Touching the heart and triggering defense. What keeps a connection alive isn't force. It's vibrational quality. And vibrational quality is born from the internal state of the one who sends. That's why, before any technique, I want you to understand something essential. The most powerful intention is one that's born from a calm heart. Not from a desperate heart. Not from a needy heart. Not from a heart in pain. Not from a heart wanting to control the outcome. But from a heart that simply is. That feels. That recognizes. That loves without fear. That desires without weight. That allows life to do what is its to do. You're not here to pull someone. You're here to radiate. Because when you radiate, the other person feels it, and feels it the right way. And now, I'm going to guide you exactly to that. The sending of pure loving intention. Nothing mystical. Nothing invented. Nothing forced. Just your field in coherence, communicating something true. Breathe deeply once more. Feel your chest open. Feel the air coming in and going out like waves. Let your breathing find a comfortable, present, stable rhythm. Bring your special person to consciousness. Not with anxiety, not with anguish, not with expectations. Simply acknowledge, he exists. He's alive. He's somewhere in the world at this exact second. He breathes. He feels. He thinks. He walks with his own stories, fears, and desires. Notice, you don't need to touch him to reach him. You don't need to speak for him to hear. You don't need to ask for him to feel. The bond already exists. The channel is already active. The heart already recognizes. So, bring your attention to the center of your chest and imagine or feel that same soft light we created before. The light that represents your field in coherence. The light that represents who you are when you're at peace with yourself. Let this light grow a little more, without rushing, without effort, as if it simply remembered how to shine. Now, here's the crucial point. You're not going to send a wish. You're not going to send a request. You're not going to send a demand. You're going to send presence. Because presence is the language the heart understands. Presence doesn't say, come back to me. It says, I exist. Presence doesn't say, choose me. It says, I see you. Presence doesn't say, do something for me. It says, I'm here, whole, without masks. And when he feels presence, he calms down. He lowers his guard. He relaxes. He allows the truth to arrive. Now, inhale deeply. And as you inhale, imagine this light in your chest, filling with something specific. It's not passion. It's not longing. It's not desire. It's not anxiety. It's not fear. It's kindness. Simple as that. The purest form of love is kindness. Inhale kindness. Exhale kindness. And imagine this light as a soft, warm, comfortable field, like a hug that asks for nothing. Like an extended hand that demands no return. Like a vibration that says, silently, I wish you peace. I wish you clarity. I wish you rest. I wish you healing. I wish you well. That's the intention. Nothing beyond that. Don't try to send images. Don't try to send phrases. Don't try to send hidden messages. The language of the heart isn't verbal. It's vibrational. Now, when you're ready, imagine this light expanding outward from your chest, not as a ray going toward him, not as a thread pulling you toward him, but as a field that spreads through space, that crosses walls, that crosses miles, that crosses silence, and arrives where he is, not forcing, just being. And when this light touches his field, something immediate happens, even if he doesn't notice. His body recognizes you, not the image, not the memory, not the story, but you, your essence, your truth, your vibration. A warmth appears out of nowhere. A gentle longing awakens. A soft memory resurfaces. A tranquility invades his chest. A thought about you arises without explanation. And all of this happens because you sent presence, not neediness. Because you sent peace, not pressure. Because you sent truth, not fear. And this is where something precious happens. When your field sends truth, he feels safety. When you send peace, he lowers his defenses. When you send purity, he recognizes the love without being scared, because the human heart always responds to what is true. Even if it takes time, even if he doesn't know how to act, even if his mind tries to resist. Truth always finds a way. Energy always finds passage. And connection always finds balance when the heart that leads is in coherence. Now, breathe deeply once more. Feel the silence inside you. Feel your body resting in a place of lightness. Feel that, for the first time in a long time, something inside you has released, has opened, has reorganized. You're no longer trying to force destiny. You're flowing with it. You're no longer trying to hold on to someone. You're allowing the connection to breathe. You're no longer trying to decipher signs. You're creating your own field. From today on, everything you do emotionally, every breath, every thought, every intention, will be to adjust the frequency of this connection. Not to control him, but to heal yourself. And when you heal, the connection heals with you. When you illuminate yourself, his path becomes clearer. When you align, life opens doors. Because the quantum field doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to coherence, responds to peace, responds to conscious love, responds to the truth of your vibration. And now that you're in this state, now that your energy has reorganized, now that your field is clean, you're ready to allow this story to follow the flow it was always meant to follow. Without fear, without noise, without rushing, without control. With presence, with clarity, with truth, with heart. And before we close, I want to ask you something simple, not for the algorithm, but because this is a space of real healing, and you belong here. Subscribe to this channel, like this video, share it with someone who feels too much and suffers in silence. Here, you'll learn to navigate your emotions with awareness. Here, you won't be judged for your intensity. Here, you won't be diminished for your sensitivity. Here, you'll understand that everything you feel has purpose. This is your refuge, your place of return, your field of healing and truth. And if you truly felt this connection pulse inside you during this video, if something shifted, if something opened, if something finally made sense, leave in the comments just 3 words. I felt it. That's how I'll know this message reached your heart. That the energy arrived, that the connection between us is also real. Stay feeling this light in your chest. Stay breathing slowly. Stay present. Because from today on, you're no longer lost in the connection. You're guiding its energy. With coherence, with peace, with love. And life always responds to those who vibrate this way.